Fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sipper.
But yeah, another week, another packed NFL drama-filled. This is like becoming a soap opera. These quarterbacks, they're all just sleeping around with other people. They invited their girlfriend into hops and their wife at the same time. They didn't realize it.
And their mother.
Yeah, these quarterbacks is crazy.
And they just keep getting offended at like the easiest things.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm offended that you don't like me anymore.
yeah, the girlfriend's like, well, I'm seeing somebody else. I'm super offended.
Yeah, like what in the world? Have some character or something. I don't know. No, but I mean, it's absolutely insane. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of them. The first one was actually a different diva position. Devonte Adams was traded to the Raiders for the 22nd overall pick and the 53rd overall pick. They re-signed him for 3 years, $22.5 million per season. Micah, first of all, what do you think about Devonte being gone?
It hurts my soul greatly. He was definitely a huge part to that offense, and Green Bay is certainly going to miss him. The return, I guess it depends on who you are as a fan. I mean, if you're like a super fan of him individually, you're going to be upset at the return. I think moving forward, given we got a lot out of him from day one and through the majority of his prime, and going on 30 years old, wide receiver in the NFL, I think there's questions out there whether he makes that 3 to 5 year deal last.
Mm-hmm.
And me personally, I'm glad that at this point Green Bay is not hooked to that contract, because that's a lot of money.
So, what do you think about the rumors that the Packers actually offered him more, but he decided he would rather go play for the Raiders, for Carr, in a hometown? I get all of that stuff. I mean, he played with Carr in college.
Right.
I think he grew up in Vegas area, right?
Yeah.
I get those things, but it felt like it was setting up Rodgers. Hey, we're running it back. This is the last dance type thing. I know that was last year, but it was kind of lining up to be like, hey, we're going to keep this thing going, and all of a sudden, see ya. I'm going to go play where I want to for less money and with the guy that I want to play with. And it just seems odd that connection just broke up by choice of one of the players and not necessarily the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I guess from what I'm finding out is that this whole last dance thing, it actually wasn't about Rodgers. It was about Adams, because there was a lot. Aaron allegedly knew that he was probably going to leave and most likely go to Vegas if they can make it happen. So with Aaron knowing and re-signing, I think that says a lot about where Rodgers stands with the organization. But as far as Adams goes, I mean, apparently he's been a lifelong Raiders fan. I mean, from childhood all the way through high school and college. So, I mean, it's like the stars basically aligned, with the way he grew up as a kid, loving the Raiders, and he's got an opportunity to go to the Raiders, play for the Raiders, play with this college QB. So, I mean, good for him, and he got paid. He deserves every single dime he's getting.
I think the $50 million says a lot about Rodgers with the Packers per season.
You're saying like
just the money.
That meant that's what it meant.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Packers were going to give up the most for Rodgers, which is why he's still there. Mm-hmm. He could have gone somewhere else too, but at this point, you might as well collect as much money as possible with just a few more years left. Adams, though, it's interesting. I wonder what the dynamic is in his farewell. He left out Rodgers, right? He didn't actually thank him or talk about that at all. It was just missing. So I wonder if that relationship had anything to do with this. I don't know, difficult time. You heard about them being like a pair the whole time, and you never heard anything about them having a bad relationship at all. Like that, not that I'm aware of, and I'm not, sitting around watching or reading about Packers all the time. Yeah, exactly. But I wonder if there was something there that he was just sick of the drama, or he was just like, yeah, screw this, I'm out. Like you're just too much.
It does feel a little bit like that to me. It feels like a little bit more of I can make my own path. I'm not gonna be riding Rodgers' coattail. I'm not going to sit in the half in, half out, half wet type thing, and I'm just gonna go do what I want and get away from it. And I think that's part of it. I really do. All of the drama, all of the angst inside that organization. I mean, yeah, it seems like it's all hunky-dory now, but this tells a different story, in my opinion.
I think with Adams too, it is really interesting to see. It will be interesting to see how a season goes, because he's not one of those guys that will rely on a great quarterback, in my opinion. Just you watch him run routes and he's open. He just has the ability to get the cornerback going the wrong way. Right, he gets the separation. He can beat him deep. He can beat him short. He's a complete wide receiver, so I think he could have a really big impact on the Raiders.
He's going to.
Yeah, I mean,
like really big impact.
It's crazy that
I even think it's a different kind of impact than like a Hopkins, for the Cardinals. Like Hopkins relies on his amazing contested catch ability and downfield sometimes, but he's not as complete of a wide receiver, in my opinion. I think Adams has a chance to really make a difference there.
Real quick, I didn't want to get a comment. I know we already did our beer intros, but I saw Mike Ware come out. He told us what he's drinking, and it's Knob Creek Copper One Special Barrel Bourbon, which is 58%.
Ooh, nice. Whoa.
Oh, that sounds so
Michael,
nice.
do you smoke your glass or your whiskey at all? I'm curious because I know you got your smoker, which is pretty dang cool. But I was at my friend Justin's this weekend, and he's got one. It's actually like this cutting board, and he's got like a ring cutter on it that fits like over top of it, and the smoker like sits here and then shoots inside the board and shoots through that, and then has little holes and like shoots up and just fills the outer glass. It's really cool.
Very nice.
It almost looked makeable though. Like I kind of want to make one. I don't know if it's possible.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm not creative.
You're gonna bore through wood.
I don't know. Maybe is that what I have to do?
I don't know. You're gonna like chisel away.
I want to see him do it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Good luck. I'd love to see it though.
So a little ironic that bourbon's 58% and we're drinking a 5.8%. I was like, is that a typo? And no, that's definitely bourbon.
That's interesting.
That Dragon's Milk doesn't have anything on that bourbon now. It's like, we're the lightweights. We better start stepping this up, guys.
Seriously, I'm going to add another orange so I get a little more car in it. It lowers the percentage, though, right? A little bit. Anyways, the next thing that happened, Deshaun Watson was traded to Cleveland. So this time last week, Cleveland was out. They don't even get a shot anymore. And then, Cleveland was back in, and that's where he's going. So the Deshaun Watson thing, they gave up. So Deshaun Watson, and they got a 6th rounder for a 1st round pick in 2022, which is 13th overall. 4th round pick in 2022. 1st round pick in 2023. 3rd round pick in 2023. 1st round pick in 2024 and a 4th round pick in 2024. Now,
what's that famous saying? F the picks?
Yeah, right. That seems like such a haul for a guy that might be suspended, that still might end up going to jail if somebody else decides to come out. And I know there's still so many questions about this, but let's keep all that aside and talk about him as a quarterback. Is that the type of move that you would have liked the Lions to make? Give up that much for this guy that just sat out a full year?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Absolutely not where you're at in your rebuild. No way. Houston is so far behind, so beat up, thrown in the mud. They needed that.
Oh, that's huge. That's huge for Houston.
And for a team like Detroit, where you're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel in a way with that rebuild, no way do you give up all that. No.
Well, and the character, I think. The Lions have made it a point to say that they're going to build on character, on guys that love football, but also are great human beings and will invest in the city and all that stuff. I'm not going to say you're in Judge Watson, but there are plenty of reasons. You can count the number of cases to say
24 women.
To question the character.
Yeah.
So from that regard, you expect a team like Cleveland to sell out for that kind of a talent, because they're trying to capitalize on their opportunity as it presents itself right now. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that's a really talented team, and maybe Baker had too many injuries to overcome last year, but they really felt like they were a quarterback away from being a real contender. And so for them to give up all this, again, this goes back to the Matthew Stafford trade. Was it worth it to give up that big haul for Matthew Stafford? 100%. That put them over the top and made them a Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
So now every team looks at that and says, that is the blueprint. We need the quarterback. We're a quarterback away. We feel like that they built similar to the Rams. Defense first, run game like crazy, offensive weapons, one quarterback away. They pulled the trigger. Look at the Chiefs. They've had 3 first-round picks since 2015. First-round picks do not make good teams that much better. right? You invest, you go get the difference makers, the top end talent, and that's what they sold out to do.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with the way that they did it because I don't think Baker Mayfield was the problem.
Oh, he was last year.
I think he was last year, but he was also going through some major injuries, and the team kind of let him down too at times. The wide receivers weren't that great. I mean, I know the questions with the whole Odell Beckham stuff. Look, Odell Beckham doesn't get along with most guys, so the fact that Baker Mayfield didn't get along with him, I don't think that's on Baker Mayfield necessarily.
Well, it's more that he didn't throw him the ball well. You know what I mean? Like everybody's seen that video now where Beckham's open all the time, but more than that, last year Baker Mayfield took a big step back. And
he did,
and he also played through a labrum tear in his shoulder, which I personally have gone through, and there's no way I could even throw a football 10 yards. So I know the severity might have been different, but you can't tell me that it didn't impact his numbers. They were career worse.
I 100% think it did. And this time last year, we're talking about how the Cleveland Browns are on the up, and they found their quarterback. They have the team to win now. If it wasn't for the injuries, what could they have been? I think is the problem. And look,
it's a win now.
That division
business
was worse this year than it was the year before, and they won the division the year before, right? And they won a playoff game. And I mean, again, I get Deshaun Watson's a better quarterback. I get it. He also just sat out a full year. That can do some damage to a type of player. He might get suspended for 6 games. He might get suspended for the year. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with that.
Did you see the way they structured the contract?
I did. Yeah, that's interesting. So $1 million for this year.
$1 million for this year.
So it's similar to the way that, like, when Brady was going to get the Deflategate suspension.
Yeah.
They basically made his salary nothing for the first half of the year, then they restructured it or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to do that once they know the suspension.
Oh, the NFL is going to go crazy. They're going to hate it. I kind of like that.
I like when people do that to the NFL because the NFL is so messed up with their stupid contract rules, make it way more difficult than it needs to be.
Suspensions.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just if the teams find a way around it, go ahead and let them. Like, you can't get mad at it for having stupid rules.
What I think is fascinating about this whole situation is how much leverage Deshaun Watson had in this scenario where he has
right?
20 plus suits against him. You know, he's going through so much legal trouble, and yet he has a no trade clause, and the world wanted him, and he's like naming his shots. Like, you're calling his shots. He's like, I don't want to go there. I'm going there. Like, he had the ultimate choice. He gets the most guaranteed money in like league history, I think. Incredible.
Yeah, guaranteed. And like I think he came out and said he wanted to play in a dome, right?
Yeah.
So now they're going to Cleveland. So the going joke is, are they going to build him a dome? Because they got all that money because they're not giving him money this year. You know, Ben Roethlisberger
isn't getting a dome. Isn't that what half the issue was in the first place? Or not?
Yeah, well,
got him in trouble.
Exactly.
Like, he was asking for dome.
I know you guys were talking about like character guys coming to Detroit and fitting the mold, but
hilarious.
I heard that Deshaun Watson liked getting his kneecap bitten. I think he would have worked perfect with Dan Campbell.
No knee troubles there.
So all right. So
but fascinating, right?
It is fascinating.
He just like calls his shots, and he's over there like
crazy,
getting suits thrown out at him and everything. He's just like, doesn't matter. Everybody wants me. He's healthy. He just took a year off. Like, it might be good in some cases, it might be bad. I don't know. Like, the world has no idea, but they paid for him.
The opt-outs had a good year in the pros this year, so you never know. Maybe that's
super healthy.
Maybe that's the new thing. Just play every other year, and you're really good. What was that comment from was it the Legion or Region?
The Team Region.
Team Region on YouTube, right?
Yeah, question. Thoughts on the Bears? Wild card, remaining free agency, Tyron and Wagner? Oh.
Sorry, man. I don't give a flying you-know-what about the Bears.
I don't know what kind of card, like wild card and like Uno or something? Wild card?
I don't know, man.
Because,
thanks for watching and commenting, but I don't have any insight on the Bears.
I think they're like the only team in the NFL that got like a negative D or F grade because they didn't do anything in free agency. They were already a bad team and they didn't improve at all.
And they gave up Khalil Mack for basically nothing.
And they still don't have a quarterback. I'm sorry.
I agree with you there.
They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting. I don't think I think the quarterback is half the issue there.
And they just lost Allen Robinson.
They're going to be bad. I hope that the Lions lose to him twice, though, and we get a better draft pick, because I don't think the Lions are contending this year.
Super Bowl.
I think he's going to sing a different tune come season.
Oh,
Yeah, wait for
one
crazy
win.
month in August. I'll be talking way bigger, way bigger game.
OTAs?
No, I do appreciate the comment and getting involved, but
We got another one that just came in too from Mike. He said just be sure to shut down the massage parlors in Cleveland. But I'm thinking we should invest some of the state of my sports in the state of Cleveland massage parlor.
yeah, that's not. I could go either way. We got a table that's kind of like a massage.
Yeah,
table,
we could do like a flight segment
Yeah,
live from the parlor.
exactly. We'll just live stream it and be like. So you talked about a dome. You want a dome stadium? So no? Should we stop?
Yeah, I don't know. It's up to you, man.
Anyways, it brings up the biggest question for me is Baker
Have we
Mayfield.
ever been banned for reasons not copyright?
I don't think so. I think as long as we don't say this is for children, we're good.
There's
Okay.
a first
And
for
I
everything,
never
Ryan.
checked the box that it's
Just did.
for children. So, well, I mean, like when it's posted.
got it.
But anyways, but Baker Mayfield, what does it do for him? Obviously, he's not happy. He wasn't happy before, like even when Cleveland got considered out. So what happens with this guy? Are the Lions an option for him? What do you guys think? Where do you think he ends up? And then
For
would
who?
you-
Who are you talking
Baker
about?
Mayfield.
Baker? No, I don't think so.
You don't think Lions are an option?
No, I don't think Baker's a franchise guy, a franchise difference maker. I think.
Do you think Goff is?
No, I think they're
Okay,
very
so
similar.
okay.
So why go back to the same route? We're in this for the long haul. Where basically, I think what the Lions need to do is get in the Browns situation where your defense is set, your offensive line's set, your running game's set, you got some weapons around, and you're a quarterback away. That's what it feels like they're driving towards. And maybe they invest in their quarterback in the draft this year if they love their guy. But we've talked about it. They don't need to.
Yep.
Okay, what were you insinuating, though?
About what, the dome thing?
No, no, sorry.
Well, when two people love each other, or one has
Or
a lot
not
of money,
love each other, but like each other a little bit.
yeah.
Especially during spring break. This time of year for college kids.
If
called
you
social
have not
hierarchy.
hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button, everyone.
Yeah, for real.
No, about Baker versus Goff. What were you kind of getting at there?
So the way I look at it is, I don't want to trade for a guy like Baker, but like let's say he gets released and he's available. We have the cap space. I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him and create that competition and let these guys duel it out, because I think they're both very competitive guys, and they're both gonna be pissed. They're both ready to show that they have something left in this
I
league.
agree with
So,
that.
Like
You asked me
okay.
if we trade for him. I don't want to give up assets
okay.
for him.
I agree. Okay. Would you take him on the team if he was a release?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Do you think he's an upgrade from Goff?
I think he's an upgrade, yeah.
I do too.
Yep.
And that's where I think what I think is important for the Lions is why not? Like, let's say he does get released. I think he's going to. I don't think anybody's going to give up much.
It's interesting
And
right
the
now.
carousel's pretty much the people that aren't in that are in like a half win now, or like can we get a little better mode? Is a quarterback a missing piece? I feel like everybody's found their quarterback,
Or they're waiting for next year's quarterback
or they're waiting
class,
for next. Yeah, that's a good point.
like the Falcons.
Yeah, who just signed Mariota, which is
Yeah, it's a 1 year, or it's a
2 year.
yeah,
but still it's a bridge quarterback.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's like I think he fits with the Lions, and I think he's a massive upgrade from Goff. I really do. I think talent wise, they're similar, but what I think Mayfield has that Goff doesn't is that fiery instinct to be like, I'm gonna take a chance, because Goff is very, very safe. And we saw that last year. He's very safe about what he does. Still makes a lot of mistakes, which is weird. That kind of they don't go hand in hand, but with Goff they do. And I think the ceiling is potentially there and it's more of a personality thing than a quarterback talent thing. I think it's a little bit of both, but more or less, I would rather this type of attitude be the one that's like, hey, I'm the bridge guy now, unless I'm your long term guy. And I can prove that I can be your long-term guy. And that's where I'm going to go back. And I would take Mayfield over Goff, hands down, right now. And I understand the people that don't like Baker Mayfield and his attitude and stuff like that. But, hey, I'll always take a guy that sticks a flag in the middle of the Ohio State Stadium.
I've always been, ever since like his late college days, I've been a fan of Baker Mayfield. He's always had that will to win the will to win mentality.
Mm-hmm.
He has that chip on his shoulder he plays with every single week, and I could not agree more that Baker Mayfield and his attitude, like his positive, competitive, hungry attitude, fits more the Detroit style than Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff is the most complete opposite of attitude you want in the city of Detroit for a football team.
Well, I will say, though, if you think that he's an immediate upgrade based on last year's performance, the answer is no.
No,
Goff was better than Baker Mayfield last year.
I agree with that.
The upside is what you're betting on, that he finds some kind of rejuvenated, previous version of himself, or his shoulder heals.
Gets healthy.
Yeah, and he gets healthy
Behind
and
a
he feels
really good offensive line.
Yeah, sure. Like, can he put up better numbers? Yes, I do think he can put up better numbers. I don't think he's the type of quarterback that I want long term, because I want my quarterback to be the one that is the reason for us winning games year after year after year. I don't think Baker Mayfield gives you that.
Can you pull up his stats from not last year but the year before as we keep this conversation going? Because I'm curious if we're underestimating what he does have the ability to do. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know his numbers. But for some reason, 2 years ago, I feel like he had an unbelievable year, and his numbers were elite. And I'm not saying he's an MVP candidate. I don't think he's ever going to be that. But, I mean, there's probably 3 MVP candidates, right? Most years. Right now it's Rodgers, Mahomes, Brady, I guess, but like who else really is elite status?
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Bills, Allen.
Josh Allen.
We had Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen in the same rankings basically last year.
Yeah.
They were like somewhere between 2 and 4 in the league ranked.
Yeah.
All right, 2020, Baker Mayfield, 62.8% completion percentage.
Pretty low.
3,563 yards.
Average.
26 TDs, 8 picks, 95.9 passer rating.
Yeah,
that's pretty
QBR.
Good.
That's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
I would take that over Goff. And I don't know, man. I just, there's something about his attitude that I think would really fit. Like Micah said, I think the swag, the edge that he plays on, and the dude's playing with a chip on his shoulder his whole career. That's where he's gotten where he is. He's going to have an even bigger chip on the other shoulder. No, not injury pun or anything like that. But
maybe though.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's got something. I think he cares. I think.
You know what? I think Sam Howell reminds me of
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. He has a lot of the same like characteristics or traits.
He doesn't have the negative stuff, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, but he's got the cockiness.
A little bit.
He can run. He can escape.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy. A little undersized as a quarterback. Not afraid to throw down the field. I almost think there's more upside in something like that. I'd rather invest in something that we don't know the limitation of at this point, rather than we know his cap. And that's my feeling.
So you think
with
you know
Mayfield.
the cap of Mayfield?
I do. Yeah, I think we've seen it.
All right.
I think it would be a total Lions move to bring him in, because then our last 3 starting quarterbacks would have been all number 1 overall picks.
That's a good point.
When's the last time that, or any time that's happened in the NFL?
Yeah,
number 1 overall pick quarterbacks.
Yeah, 3 straight.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That is insane.
It just might have to happen.
A couple more things, and I kind of want to move through these a little quicker because we're going a little longer than I wanted to. But Matt Ryan was traded to the Colts for a 2022 third-round pick. Then the Falcons went out and signed Marcus Mariota to a 2-year, $18.75 million contract. Do you think that makes the Falcons out on quarterbacks this year? Because I still see them, mock to those things. I asked it, but I don't want to ask it because I think we just got to keep this thing moving.
I think the Falcons are in for a quarterback for the draft this year as an experiment. Yeah. And what a freaking trade for the Colts. Holy cow.
Yeah. For what they gave up the year before
Huge
for
upgrade.
wins.
Yeah.
Massive upgrade for giving up even less. I
think,
the
professional,
I think that team's built to win. And I think Matt Ryan is still a high character. And I think he's a high talent guy, too.
Yeah, I think he is,
He was on one of the worst rosters the last 3 years, I think. And that has a lot to do with why he's been so bad. And he hasn't even been that bad, but why the win-losses are that bad.
He's going to be a Philip Rivers, just a better version of him.
I think he's a way better version of Philip Rivers.
Yeah.
And better than Carson Wentz, obviously. My thought was, like, with all this quarterback carousel and, like, a lot of these quarterback-hungry teams making trades, signing guys, does it make you feel like the whole draft is almost out on the talent that's in this for the quarterback. Like I think the Falcons still could draft, like, let's say Malik Willis and make him more of a project underneath a Mariota until he beats him out for the job. But like with all this happening, like the Washington, I think got a quarterback, right? Or like there's so many teams. Or Panthers still need one, but I don't know. Just teams. The Saints just re-signed James Winston, so it's like it makes me feel like they don't trust this quarterback and this quarterback class. It makes me even more nervous that the Lions are going to take one because they're going to be wrong. But I don't know. Just conversation for another day. Unless you got something quick.
Well, I think there's a better chance now of the Lions trading out in number 2 because somebody's going to trade up for a quarterback than before all this.
Really?
Madness
So you think
happened.
there's a better chance?
I think there's too many teams that just got a quarterback that are going to be competitive, and somebody's going to be searching for that next one. And I think
You still got Jimmy Garoppolo out there too.
Yeah.
As a
yeah, but
potential
again,
piece,
they know
right?
their ceiling. There's some draft capital with some unknown ability out there, and that's
Yeah.
going to lure somebody in.
I think that just makes me think of how important a franchise quarterback is, high-end talent quarterback. That's what Matthew Stafford was for the Lions, and the Lions fans were just terrible about it. Half of them, I should say. Probably not even half. Probably more like 40%,
Yeah, 'cause they
but the
kept
loudest
losing.
ones.
Yeah.
But Stafford signed a 4-year contract extension for $160 million to
Good for him.
finish his career in L.A. I'm still holding on to hope that he ends as a Lion, but we're going to have to trade for him when the time comes. And I don't like that.
We're not-
It's going to happen.
Give it up.
It's going to happen. So we'll get some Lions
Duking
talk
it
here, and then
out.
we'll get into the mock draft quick. How are we doing on time there, John? We got to move. Yeah, he says we got to move. He said he doesn't even want to get on air. He doesn't even want to say it because he knows it's
Yeah,
going to waste
he's
time.
just
So I'm just
nodding.
explaining it to waste even more time.
Good idea.
Lions are going to sign cornerback Mike Hughes to a 1-year deal, $3.5 million. Hughes, 25 years old, spent the 2021 season with the Kansas City Chiefs. He was a first-round pick of the Minnesota Vikings in 2018 and played his first 3 years for the Vikings. He's coming off his best NFL season after struggling while primarily working in the slot in Minnesota. Hughes played almost exclusively on the outside in Kansas City and turned in a much better results. What do you think about that signing, Ryan, real quick?
Yeah, I really like it. High upside. He rated like number 2, I think, last year in all cornerbacks in head-to-head matchups in coverage.
Yeah.
So on the outside. So I think that there's just high upside there. You know he's got a great athletic ability. He's always been injured. He broke his neck one year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he tore his ACL his rookie year. So he's never been on the field except for last year, and his PFF gradings looked really good.
Yeah, one thing that I found interesting was I remember like 4 or 5 weeks into the season, everybody was talking about how bad the Chiefs' pass defense was, and then it got very quiet about that very quickly.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if he had a lot to do with that, like him starting to learn his role and not necessarily becoming like a shutdown corner or anything like that, but just being serviceable. And I think that's what the Lions need. They don't need short shutdown corner because you should have that with Okudah if that's where he's going to play. And honestly, the way Aurier stepped up, he became that type of guy. Not
depth.
shutdown,
It's depth,
but
though.
it's depth. Yeah, exactly. So I like seeing it.
The only weakness he had last year in his gradings was touchdowns because he is a little undersized. I think he's like
Okay.
5'10".
So in
In the red zone, they would
and
just
stuff.
toss it up, and he was always left on an island, which tells you their confidence in him being by himself out there. So
Okay.
I love the signing. I think it's only high upside, nothing to lose.
They signed Raven linebacker Chris Board. Board has spent all 4 years of his NFL career with the Baltimore Ravens. The 26-year-old was originally an undrafted free agent from North Dakota State. Spent most of his first 2 seasons playing special teams. His defensive reps increased over 2020 and 2021, where he was on the field for 33% of the Ravens snaps. He notched a career-high 41 tackles in 16 games for the Ravens last year. Not a splash by any means, just a depth guy. And
Depth guy.
potentially a cut candidate if we draft Nakobe Dean, Devin Lloyd, or like a high-end Christian Harris, Chad Muma. Like if we find our better linebacker in the draft, it seems like a guy that you can kind of push away. But also special teams guys.
There are some NFL executives that have ranked him the best special teams players the best special teams player in the NFL
I like that.
for the last 4 years.
All right.
So this guy is really
he
good.
has a role.
He's a former safety in college, so he's fast. He does cover pretty well as a linebacker. I think he could get a niche role in there, and I think absolutely. Again, high upside, no real risk here. It's not like you're investing a lot of money. He's a good athlete.
And the Lions' free agency and offseason as a whole, very safe, very non-committal, short-term deals. Like, you're seeing it. They're not making any splashes. They're sticking to their plan, and they're being very, very patient and not ruffling any feathers. Like that, I feel like
really,
that's what we're seeing here.
Really quick, what we're really seeing is that they've identified some of their core that they want to continue to build around, and the players have also invested in return back into their coaches and said, I want to be here for them. And that just confirms all the things that we wanted out of this team about the coaches establishing an atmosphere where players are prioritized and the coaches are honest and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You see guys like Tracy Walker, name some of the others. Alex Anzalone comes back. We've got edge rusher
Charles Harris
coming back. So they
All the
also
wide
now are
receivers.
going to start build. Yeah, well, they're going to start building a reputation for if you come and do the right things according to what the coaches are looking for, they're going to support you in return,
They'll
and
take care of you.
they're going to
Yeah.
take care of you.
Yeah, and one thing I think this regime's doing, and I should stick to Dan Campbell when it comes to this, way better than Matt Patricia. It's like he's putting players in place to be the leaders. And he's not saying, I'm the leader, I'm the guy, I know what I'm doing, I'm the one that has Super Bowls with the Patriots, and this is my way or the highway. He's bringing in guys to lead the actual players. And he's not trying to be that leader necessarily. You know what I mean? Like, and I always think of it as a hockey term, and like the way a hockey locker room is you put your captain as you are the buffer between the head coach, who's an a-hole, and the players that need to hear it a little differently. So you can be yelling at the team, this, and this, and making everybody mad at you. But as long as you have the leaders saying, what he really means is this, what we need to do is this, and you know what I mean? Like, that's where it is. You have that filter as the leaders inside the locker room instead of the head coach being like, I'm the lead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's...
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like it's what we're seeing. In the outside perspective, obviously, we don't know the ins, but...
No, you see it with the players. And Patricia and Dan Quinn, you saw all the players leaving. You saw the drama. You saw Darius Slay. You know, we got rid of Darius Slay. We let him go, and then we brought in Jeffrey Okudah as his replacement. And what were we saying at the time? This is a 1-for-1. It's a wash. Like, best case scenario is Jeff Okudah is really good, and he is exactly what we just lost in Darius Slay. So it didn't make your team any better.
Mm-hmm.
What we're seeing with this regime is that the players want to stick around. They want to be a part of something special, rebuild. And there are the guys who stand out, like the Charles Harris, like Tracy Walker. They're like, no, I want to see where this goes. I like the direction where the coaches have been going, and I think that they're really well respected, and that word will get around. The rest of the league will hear that. The players know.
Yep, and I think the next order of business is to find out that these players want to stay, not only because it's the only place they're going to get playing time, but because they believe in what this is building. You know what I mean? Because you can find that, hey, I'm going to stay because, hey,
bet on themselves.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not going to go anywhere else and get playing time, so that's why I'm staying.
They're betting on themselves.
You know what I mean?
Again, yeah.
But I don't know.
They're trying to prove themselves.
I think that's a really... It'll be interesting to see how it all goes down. They also signed Garrett Griffin, tight end from the Saints. Nothing to really get into about that. Just he's the Dan Campbell of this 0-17 team. No, I'm just kidding. He's the Dan Campbell of the of the Lions tight end group here. So